말씀을 드리겠습니다. 네, 기장대에서는 이병민 선수가 긴장하고 있습니다.
Welcome back to the Namdong Stadium. I'm Colin Turner, and along beside me is Richard Freeman. And we're taking a look at the action from that first half with Japan and Korea. Richard, was an exciting first half.
It was an exciting first half. This man absolutely dominated proceedings in the Korea. Jan Soo-min scoring a try from a quick penalty by Lee, and then picking up the second try 12 minutes later with an intercept.
A lot of people would think mistakes by the Japanese, but that's what happens in rugby. Great vision from him to see the opportunities.
Well, exactly, but I mean, the mistakes also have come from some superb defence by the Koreans. They've been up so quickly. Gorumaru here scored a penalty. Chihito Matsui marked his debut with a try. Hayden Hopgood also scored a try to give Japan a lead, but 2-point lead is something that not many people would have predicted.
And then, of course, they got a penalty try towards the end of that first half.
They did. They're slowly playing themselves back into the game, but the Koreans are absolutely outstanding in defence. I mean, they made 46 tackles. I don't think they missed one at all. 49 tackles, I'm sorry. I don't think they missed one at all.
And what about the scrums? Look at that. Pretty even, you'd say, 6-3.
Yeah, the scrums, 6 scrums, though, that shows how many handling errors that Japan have made. They've been under so much pressure. Luke Thompson forced to pass. Kane Hesketh, I think, dropped one early on as well. And again, that's the pressure from the Koreans. And I just think in the second half, Eddie Jones may have told them to maybe play a little bit deeper, because the Koreans are coming up very quickly off their line. They're making the tackles, and the Japan players seem rattled a little bit.
Yeah, and the turnovers won there as well.
Well, the turnovers won. That's Japan have 3. That's obviously down to their experience at the breakdown, and that's something they'll need to work on, because as the Koreans realised yesterday, you know, Japan are so good at scoring off turnover ball. That's something that, you know, looking ahead to the World Cup, if you're honest, that's how Japan are going to score against the likes of South Africa and Scotland. And so the second half, I think Eddie will be looking at trying to force the turnovers and then launch counter-attacks and use their pace and fitness.
Yeah, and you see the Japanese team coming back out, and the Korean team already out there, just looking down there to see if there's any changes in both sides. It seems the Koreans would have been pretty happy. Chung Young-suk, the coach, would have been pretty happy with that first 40 minutes.
I think so. I mean, he'd been definitely very happy with the first 25-30 minutes. Towards the last 10 minutes of the second half, obviously, things didn't go quite as well. Japan sort of played themselves back into it. A reverse, really, of the last 2 times that we've been here, where it was the Japan that went off and won the game by half-time, and then the Koreans actually played some decent rugby in the second half. So it'll be interesting to see how Japan play the second half. They've got a new interpreter. He's a death metal singer, and I think he'll be used to some of the words that Eddie Jones probably used at half-time, because I can't imagine that it was the quietest of team talks down there.
Exactly, and a few words, I'm sure, from Chung Young-suk to say to the guys, okay, go back out and do it all again. And they will be very, very happy with the scoreline as they look at the board away to our left, and it's saying Korea 20, Japan 22. And a lot of people would have thought coming into this game that Japan might have scored 20 when the full game was over, not at half-time.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, it's a score that has surprised a lot of people. The Koreans are playing, though, with so much passion. I mean, the tackling, as I say, it's just been unbelievable. They've stopped Japan in their tracks. I mean, Kane Hesketh has got over the gain line a couple of times, but the speed in midfield of the defence is what's preventing Japan from getting the ball wide. And as a result, Fujita and Matsui really have been starved of opportunities to show how quick they are.
Yeah, and I like Kim Sung-soo, the captain of the Korean side, talking to Ji-Jal Bin there, encouraging the youngster as we start the second half. And it's the Koreans, for those of you who have just joined us, who are playing from left to right on your screen. They're in the all-white as Japan are able to collect the ball and take it in, and they're able to move forward. They can rotate it again, get it out the back, and now they get it out to Fujitsu, and they can, and he's going to race down the line, but he's going to be tackled and taken out of it by Tumaru, and also there with him was Namok. Ball is back in again, blast on the whistle from Tim Baker, and gives the free kick to Japan. They're able to take it away quickly through their number 10, and that is Tatikawa. Out to Kizu.
This is where they need to go right. They've got numbers out wide right, the long pass.
And they can get it out to the far side, but they're running the ball with the number 1 there, McCallie, but they can take it back again. This time it goes to Justin Ives. He's taken to ground. Iwasa has it. He's able to get the Japanese into a good position. They can come to the left that time, but the poor pass went behind everyone, and it is Fujita who went in there, tried to correct the problem for the Japanese. They have it again. Now they go into the middle to Shoji Ito. He's taken the ground. There's one of the Korean players down injured in the background. Got a bad tackle. A couple of trainers and assistants have come on to help him out. Meanwhile, the Japanese go forward. At the far side, the Koreans lost the tackle, and now the Japanese player loses the ball, and that flew out of the hands of Heskett.
It did. A bit of a better start from Japan. They got the ball wide. Fujita made the break down the left-hand flank. But again, it's just sloppy passing at times. Tamura just threw a pass to no one in midfield. And then Hesketh showing his strength, but then losing the ball in the tackle.
2 players, a Korean player down injured, and also the number 7 for the Japanese team. That's Hayden Hopgood, the 34-year-old outside flanker. And the referee is just asking the officials to hold up everything at the moment until we sort out the injured player, the number 4 for Korea, Kim Woo-bum, the 25-year-old from Kubota team. He's 6'6". See him go into the lineup, but meanwhile still concerned over on this side of the ground for one of the Korean players. Unfortunately, not easy to identify in the
Never a nice thing to see a player like that. He hasn't really moved an awful lot, so obviously a cause for concern.
Exactly, and they're I think they're getting ready to yeah, they're going to make a substitution, and I think it will be Na Kwang Young who will come in, the number 19.
Lee Young-sung, who's one of the reserves, is the man down. He's slowly getting to his feet, but he is very, very groggy, and hopefully they'll do all the right checks for concussion. Very serious issue now for rugby, and obviously doctor will have a look at him and give him a test, but I don't think there's any way he should be allowed back on. He looks very groggy indeed.
Yeah, it's Hang In-jo who has gone in, actually, the 28-year-old wearing the number 19. He's gone into the fray. It's Hang In-jo. So the referee just getting the guys together. Getting ready to go into the scrum. So they go down again.
The scrum, the new man in the scrum wasn't quite organised, and Japan get a free kick, and yes, they're going to go for a scrum again. Right decision there from Takayama.
And interesting, I just watched down underneath us here, and the man on this side, Fujita, raced out to the touchline, which is about maybe 100 meters away from where the ball action is, and he was looking for a long kick across because there's no cover by the Koreans on this side. There's 2 players in by the uprights, and those 2 players, Gwang Min and Namuk. So they've now settled themselves into the scrum. Hwang In-jo in that scrum. The Koreans are going to lose out, and the Japanese are keeping the ball at the back. They're able to pick it up now. They got a wide open chance here, and there's a breakthrough in the middle, and the Japanese rotate it. They got 3 and 3. They were going to go to the left, and it's Hawasha, and he was held up. Masa is backing there, foraging for it. He got off the ground. He's able to put it out, and he put it out to Olani. Now they come out to Kizu. They get it again. They go to their man wide on the outside, Tatikawa. He's blocked. Now they've got to go back into the middle again. That is Hatikeyama, a chance for the Japanese to take it forward again. They're 2 meters out from the line. Can they get it? They've got a big line out waiting for it, and they miss out a whole lot of players, and they miss out the player as well that it was intended for, and the Koreans are able to clear it out to the halfway line. Good ball outside. Here's a chance. This time it is for Heskett and Matsui, and Matsui ball flagged out to the far side, but Matsui was the runner, and it is Heskett eventually. I think they threw it out, and it's a try for the Japanese. Good start for them in the second half.
Well recovered by the Japan back three, because Utamura is one of those players that he has the X factor, and sometimes his teammates don't know what he's doing. I think his hands didn't know what his brain was doing then, because he threw it to nobody. The Japan back three recovered very well, and then Hesketh showed just why he's in the Japan team. I mean, as I say, he's an enigma of a player. He's not particularly quick, but he's so strong. He has a very low center of gravity, which means he's very difficult to tackle. And he just used his strength there to go over in the corner.
Yeah, but I like the run from the man on the outside as well, because he distracted 2 players, because everyone now realizes he's a bit of a speedster. So Matsui was the blind man who took 2 players out.
Yep, clever playing, and I mean, as I say, that's what Japan have to do. They have to create mismatches, they have to create problems with the opposition defence, cause the opposition defence to think. And a good start for Japan. Korea haven't been helped. They've made a number of changes at half-time, and now they've made a couple more changes in the front row, it seems. And you have to question, you know, obviously these guys don't play at the level of top league all the time. There's about 5 players playing in Japan, most for the second division. So, you know, fitness and strength is going to come to the fore, and that's where you would think Japan will start to run away with the game. But these Koreans have been playing well so far.
Clearance by the Koreans to Kisu, and the Japanese starting to get on top, starting to, even though they lost the ball that time, not good. And the Koreans get it back this time through Jigal Bin, the number 14. He leaves it behind. Going in over the top was the number 23, and that is Park Hang-yul. And the penalty awarded by our referee, Tim Baker from Hong Kong. And what they're going to do, he's going to have a shot at goal. And the shot is going to come from Lee Mung-jung. Change. They're going to back to Choi Hyung-jung. For a while at the scrum half wanted it. Now they can get the tee on the player. And Hyung-jung going to have a shot at goal. And he's what, 27 meters out?
I think 27, 28 meters. Looks like his earlier effort with the 7-iron is probably about the same, although he might be hitting it into the wind, so possibly a 6-iron today.
Just checking across the line out for the lineup for the Koreans. They have, as you say, made a couple of changes. They brought in Hang In-ju came in, and Park Hang-yul. In the side, he wears the number 23. Here's the shot. Goal, is it going to come around? Oh, it's coming around just inside the upright. Good kick.
He's a very classy kicker. Lee Smith said yesterday that the Koreans could hold on to the ball and just concentrated on getting points by kicking the points every so often. They'd be in the game, and that's what's happening today. Oh, hasn't missed a kick. He strokes it very well, never looked like missing.
27-23. So even though the Japanese got a good start with that try from the Heskett, a couple of points pulled back by the Koreans. Here's the restart. The Korean player taken in the air. That was Jigal Bin. The Koreans have it through their number 12, Kim Na-muk. Now they get it out the back. This time they go to their number 18, and the number 18 is Shin Dong-won. Taken to ground, the number 19, in John over there. Now they can rotate it on this side, and they've got a chance now. He's taken it such good tackle by Fujita, and Fujita is able to take out the number 23.
대한민국의 선수가 증가했습니다.
Kang-yul was racing down this near side.
Good tackle by Fujita. He's been getting a lot of work actually from a former rugby league player, Max Mannix, who's been up in Japan for a few years, who's making his name now as a film producer and film writer. But Max has been with the Japan squad. He was with Suntory earlier, and he's helping Fujita on his defensive work, and it paid off there. A good cover tackle by the wing.
Good throw in, line out, but the nice person on this side. The man from Sydney in Australia. Stephen Coltman says it was a straight, so they're going to scrum it down, even though it was nicely collected by Justin Ives wearing the number 6 and that big headband.
Recently became a Japan citizen, Justin Ives, so we'll be seeing slowly soon what his Japanese character he will add to his name.
Line-side flanker, playing in that position today. This time the referee comes over to Mikami. Masataka Mikami, the 26-year-old, plays with the Toshiba club in Japan, earns his 23rd cap today. And the Koreans have a chance of putting it into the scrum. Lee Myung-jung. And down they go, and the penalty is against the Koreans. And who is he pointing to? He's pointing to the number 16, I think it is, and that's Na Kwang-young. So it's going to give Goramaru a chance. What's he going to do? Kick into the corner. Thought he was going to go for a goal. He's going to kick into the corner, put some pressure on the Koreans. I think the right attitude, Rich.
I think so, yeah. I mean, the second half is all about Japan trying to get their game plan going. Eddie's talked about the fact that they need to have a couple of game plans going into the World Cup. They're going to vary things up, so we'll see what type of game they play in the second half.
Just inside the Korean 22 is the Japanese having again up the scrum. In there goes the captain, Takayama, wearing the number 3. They can rotate it. They got a man over on the outside, but they can't get it across. But a good piece of sidestepping by Fujita. Fujita playing all over the park at the moment. They get it out again to Ives, wearing the number 7. Is Hayden Hopgood. Oh, nice ball inside, lovely ball inside, and it is the number 11. I was thinking it wouldn't be too long before Fujita got into the scoring, and he certainly has. Fujita getting that one, nice pass inside by Tatikawa, and Fujita gets over the try line.
It's good to see Fujita coming off his wing as often as he is now. I mean, he is a talent. Maybe not quite as good as some of the journalists in Japan are playing him up to be, because he hasn't actually played a top league game yet. He was a high school star, he's a university star, but obviously there's a big step up to test match level. But he's starting to prove himself that he is a hard worker, which is what you have to be at test match level, especially as a wing. He's coming off his wing, scoring a good try there, and well deserved.
And Goramaru with the conversion. And that one, he has missed. Pushed it wide, so the score remains Japan 32, Korea 23.
Not a good sign for Japan when Goramaru starts missing kicks. I mean, there are other kickers out there. Tamura can kick, Tatakawa can kick. The problem with Goramaru is he's the only real fullback in the squad, And obviously when you start thinking about playing games like Samoa, Scotland, where one kick could decide the game, you've got to make sure your kicker's in top form. And unfortunately for Japan today, Goromaru is, the radar's not quite working at the moment.
I can tell you that Hiroki Yahara, the 31-year-old, plays with the Toshiba club. Winning his 18 cap, has gone into the line out for the Japanese team. So he's going to the 173 meter, 5'8". The man is 16 stone in weight as the Japanese tried to bring it down this side into the tackle. Went Heskett. They can rotate it again. Goes across to Tatikawa. Again, there's only a couple of Koreans there to stop them, and the Japanese are swarming around. Kick, but it's blocked down, charged down, and it goes back to Fujita. He loses control of that ball, lost forward, and the handout from Tim Baker. And he's going to award the scrum to the Koreans. Bit of mishandling there by Fujita on the ground.
Yeah, and a kick charge down. As I say, a lot of this is Japan are playing so flat that they're giving the Koreans a chance to get up quickly. And then Tatekawa has his kick charge down there. I just can't help thinking that possibly they could play a little bit deeper in the second half and just try and get the confidence going, get the combinations going, and take the Korean defense out of the game.
Yeah, there's a Korean player down, still on the ground, even though he's hidden from our view right behind the Japanese group of players there on the right-hand side. As we're looking at the man who has kicked and missed that last penalty. He kicked a few of them. That was Goromaru. And there's the Korean player on the ground. And in the meantime, the Korean training staff have all run on and given out water. It's Kim Ho-bong, the 6'6" tall, 25-year-old.
돈을 발휘하고 있는 4번 김호봉 선수에게 경례 박수를 보내드리겠습니다.
He's limping. Looks as if he's got a knock on his left leg, but he's gone back into the action.
Interesting move for Japan because Tatekawa is coming off and former captain Toshiaki Hirose is coming on. Spent most of his career on the wing, although he started as a fly half, and he looks to have slotted in at fly half now. So maybe there's some words from the bench about how to play this remaining sort of 20 minutes or so.
Oh, there's a breakthrough by the Koreans as they race into enemy territory, so to speak. They got over the advantage line as well. They can rock it forward, and then can they move it quickly? They do, out the back. It goes to Oi. Then they go very, very wide, way out to the far side to Jingal Bin, another speedster in the Korean side. They get it back again, try to get over the advantage line. They're held up. The man holding them up is Ito, Shoji Ito. But the Koreans have it, handout from Tim Baker, and he's awarding a penalty to the Japanese side, and I would think he's going to penalize that last man up for the Koreans, or is it scrum? He's going to call it scrum. It was Kim Hyung-soo was the last man up, Kim Hyung-soo. And we're just over halfway, just about halfway in the second half. And the Japanese lead by 32 points to 23.
Yeah, the Japanese back's looking very flat here. We wouldn't be surprised if it goes to Goromaru on the blind side now. He might have a run, he might just decide to use this breeze and kick it downfield.
And again, the Koreans are penalized in the scrum, and the Japanese can come away with it. And that time it was the number 23 for the Japanese, and then they can get it out this side to Fujita. And Fujita recycles it again across, very flat ball again by the Japanese. Taken in, but they get it again, and you can see there the number 8 leaning across. Kun Young was trying to steal that ball away from the Japanese, but they've got it again. Which way are they going to go? They're going to go to the far side. They went to Hirosh. And the Japanese putting on the pressure inside to Mikami. And the Japanese can move it. This time they come over the side to Cheetah. And the referee, well, all the crowd were telling the referee that there was a foul committed. And the Japanese brought their number 7, Hayden Hopgood, back into the action. And that came out while Hayden Hopgood was tested. I think that's a great invention for the rugby people to have this testing done for concussion.
Yeah, something that has to be done. The welfare of the player is most important. It's not often done, sadly, at top league level, but obviously at international level, it's something that has to be done. Yep. Again, Japan moving backwards, they're being forced backwards by the Korean defence, and sort of left with no answers as to what to do. It's sort of throwing the ball around and just hoping it reaches a player. There's no real structure to the Japan play at the moment.
Korea to put the ball in, but they're being pushed off the ball, but they still retain it through their number 8, Kong Kyu. The blast on the referee's whistle is saying that the tackler moved the ball forward, knocked on. So the Koreans can clear. Just looking down at Murata was the man. There's all the graphics for you, telling you how many scrums and lineouts, 10 against 5. What do you think of all of that?
It just shows the handling errors that Japan are making. I mean, 10 scrums to the Koreans all come from handling errors by Japan, and yet the Koreans are obviously being conceding a lot of penalties, 12-4, but Japan not really making the most of it.
Of course, the important line is at the bottom there, as you see on your screen. Korea 23, Japan 32. Line out this side. That one's gone astray from the Koreans. Japanese had a handout. Big tall man, Justin Ives, had his hand out, and also there was Hayden Hopgood. But ball went forward. It's going to be a scrum to Japan. It's still a bit bitty, isn't it, Rich? You know, the performance from the Japanese side.
It's not been good at all, to be honest. I mean, I know they're rusty, they've trained hard in camp, obviously haven't played a great deal of rugby, but then the same for the Korean side, and yet they've come out, put the Japan team under pressure, and as I say, you know, Eddie will sit there and say it's all about the World Cup, but you've got to have some good performances along the way. I mean, if Japan learn from this and learn how to react, all well and good, but just at the moment they just don't seem to have varied their game plan at all, and they're being made to struggle a little bit by the Koreans.
Shin Dong-won getting a bit of a talking to from our referee for illegal barging in the scrum.
I think he's a fluent English speaker, having been brought up in New Zealand, so he's obviously helping with the referee and translating to his Korean teammates as well.
Maybe, yes, that's what he was telling him. Go back and tell your front row to straighten themselves out. Good ball collected by the Japanese, and they take it forward, and there's a chance for them to run forward. Heskett, and the Japanese have it right under the goalpost. Can they move it quickly? They've got a big overlap on the far side. They've got about 5 against 3, and they go wide. Nice ball inside, and there's not a lot of people going to stop that man when he gets the ball in his hand, and that's a try right in the corner for Japan again.
Yeah, Utamura going over in the corner, but mark that down once again to Khan Hesketh. A great run in the midfield by Khan Hesketh, created, and then the inside pass, and Tamura goes over in the corner.
Tamura, good try for the Japanese, so they are stretching it out a little bit.
They are, as you know, you would expect them to do a bit better in the second half than they did in the first half. but it's still not been the most fluid of performances. I mean, there's been some little bits that have been good, but there's a lot of work to do, I think, ahead.
Now, should I put the commentator's curse on Goromaru like I did with the last kick and say it's easy for him and then he missed? As far as the Japanese are concerned, meanwhile, they have introduced Yamashita, the 29-year-old, who's come into the side. And there's a kick, and again, I didn't say anything that time, and it still went a little bit awry. So the Japanese have stretched their lead out to 37 points to 23. You see that kick there in slow motion, he just misses. Just hasn't got the radar correct. And he looks and he looks. You can see the eyes were staring at it there.
I just get the feeling that, I know Eddie has said the same thing. I mean, they have been working very hard on their fitness and strength, but perhaps they haven't been working on their skills quite as much, because Goromaru's been missing some kicks, passes are not going to hand. And it's the rugby that's letting them down at the moment, not really their fitness or strength.
The basics, as Eddie would say, the basics left us down. There's the ball in the middle, and that was Murata back in the action again, the number 20. And that's a wild pass from the Koreans, but picked up by Kim Nam-wook, and then there's a break on this side, but good tackle. And the tackler was the scrum half, got across there. Iwasa. The Koreans have to change direction, and that's Jang Showang, the 24-year-old. They can keep it going over to the far side, and they move it to Kim Nam-wook. Now they've got to come back, change direction. They go inside to the number 17. That is Young Ki. It's coming back slowly on the Korean side. Again, they move it right into the middle. And there is Shin Dong-won. Your friend Shin Dong-won taking the ground in. They're rich.
Yeah, he's about to go to Germany to start university, study again after 7 years in Japan. So maybe another language he picks up, fluent English speaker, Korean speaker, speaks pretty good Japanese.
Spent a lot of time in New Zealand, yeah.
Yeah, he was brought up in Christchurch alongside Kosei Ono, who obviously is missing from the Japan team today. He's just having a neck operation, which is one of the reasons Ryohei Yamanaka was brought into the squad.
This is Hwang Young, Hwang Young. They're going in for the Japan side is Hiroshi Yamashita. Where's the number 18? Good line out. Throw from the Koreans. That came from Young. The Koreans trying to do what the Japanese did and push it over the line, but they're blocked and stopped. But can they keep it going? They're getting a lot of support from the back, but instead of going forward, they're going sideways, but they still have the ball. They're retaining possession. It's still at the back for them. They pick it up, they try to barge over. The ball developing. They can get it out of there. But they still retain it, but they need a bit of support. But they got a big wide flank on this outside. They go to Kim Ho-bum, number 4. He's got to ground. Inside to Shin Dong-won. This time goes to Hwang Young, the number 16. And he's taken the ground. Here's the big number 7 racing through. And Sung Won is there. Now they have a chance. They can get it out to this side, but they've brought a whole lot of the Japanese defense across. And the fast on the whistle. The referee gives a free kick quickly to the Koreans. They go to Kim Ho-bung. He can't get through. Blocked. This time they change direction and they go wide. They got an overlap. But that's a good piece of sidestepping. That's a good try. That is a great try. He's avoided one or two good tackles that went in.
김하보 선수 트라이를 주도했습니다.
Good try.
Good reward for the Koreans, a good effort by the forwards. They put the Japan pack under a lot of pressure, which is obviously a worry for Eddie Jones, bearing in mind the bigger packs they'll be playing later in the year. But the Korean pack did well, then Lee suddenly changed direction, and Kim Nam-wook did very well. The runner came up probably a bit too quickly in defence. He sidestepped him and then took 3 Japan players over with him under the post. So here we see, just step off the left foot, beat 2 tacklers there, and then took 3 men over with him. So a very good try by the Korean inside centre.
He showed a lot of people converted. So it takes the score out to 37 for Japan, 28 for Korea. That was a very good try. He showed a lot of power, a lot of skill, sidestepping.
And clever play by the scrum half, because he had seen the forwards go time and time again. Japan defence had held the pack, and then suddenly Lee switched directions.
대한민국 선수에게 다시 한번
Out
김하보
to Kim, who does
부탁드리겠습니다.
really well to score. So a very well deserved try for the Koreans.
And I think a lot of credit goes to the captain, Kim Sung-yu, as well, because he went across to that side and added another player, dragged another player with him. So there was 5 against 3 on that side.
Exactly, yeah.
Yep. So Kim Nam-wook gets his name on the score sheet when he's making his 12th appearance. A 25-year-old plays with the KEPCO club. And now the Japanese make another change, and this time they have brought on Hirashima, the 32-year-old from the Kobe KEPCO club. He wears the number 16.
1번의 선수 교체가 있었습니다. 1번 마사타카 선수가 나오고 16번 시아테루 히라시마 선수가 들어왔습니다.
Japanese going forward again. Now they can come over this side, and there's a good breakthrough. Breaking through the line was the Japanese player, and here's the big number 4. Is he going to make it? Luke Thompson. Just short of the line. They can rotate it, but they got 3 over there. Who is it going to be? And it goes out to Hayden Hopgood. And the number 7 goes over on the far side. So the big man, Hayden Hopgood, as Rich mentioned, hasn't played a lot of international or senior rugby in the last couple of years.
Yeah, good try by Hopgood, made by a break by Luke Thompson. I thought the big guy was going to be in to mark his 50th cap, but doesn't have quite the legs of old, and the ball goes wide. Hopgood goes unopposed. And an important try for Japan, because Korea are just 1 score away from picking up a bonus point, which in the context of the tournament could be very important as to who finishes, as we would normally assume, 2nd or 3rd. I don't think Japan have actually given away a bonus point, aside from 1 loss to Hong Kong many years ago in Tokyo. So that just shows how well the Koreans have played today, and obviously they'll gain a lot of confidence from this. There's still 8 minutes to go, so who knows, they could come back, get a try, and a very deserved bonus point.
I'm just looking down, and Eddie Jones has made another change. Kazuki Uchida, the 23-year-old from the Panasonic club, has been brought into the ranks as the conversion is completed. Japan out to 42 points.
1번의 선수 교체가 있었습니다.
42 points to 30.
5번 김경환 선수가 나오고 21번
8 minutes to go. As I say, the Koreans will be desperate for that extra try. Japan will be looking to finish with a bit of a flourish, because it hasn't been a great performance.
I'm just trying to sort out the lineup for Japan.
대한민국의
Kushida
선수
coming
교체가
in,
있었습니다.
and they
4번
kept
5번 선수가 나오고
Fujita inside him. They have the number 13 Heskett. Tamura might be the one that's gone missing, and they have allowed Hyros to come in and Uchida to come in the back line. discussion going on amongst the guys, and the chance for the Japanese to put the ball in the scrum.
Uchida has been the backup to Fumiaki Tanaka last season at Panasonic Wild Knights. Again, he hasn't had a great deal of playing time, and not sure how he's played with Hirose as his outside half.
So Hirose puts the ball in, the 34-year-old, and they win it at the back, and they can clean it out again, but they go down the far side. Maru gets into the line. He's taken over the sideline, but the referee is going to pull them all back. And he's going to give a penalty to the Japanese team, and they throw the ball to their number 22, Shida, left foot. He's the first left footer in the Japanese team today. I haven't seen anyone kick with the left foot.
Yeah, no, yeah, Yamanaka's got a good strong left foot. Interesting character. He missed the 2011 World Cup because he had a 2-year ban for steroids. Unfortunately, steroids wasn't any weight in his body. It was a hair product that he used to try and create a moustache.
That story, they only use. There's a march forward by the Japanese, and the power of the pack takes it over. Who is going to get the credit for it? Coming out with the ball.
It's Ryu Kalani.
Kalani.
I see Halani who gets a try. Yeah, very easy pushover try. It almost seemed that the Koreans hadn't committed anybody there to the maul, and Japan almost unopposed in that.
So another try for the Japanese.
It scores 5 points.
So the number 8, Ryu Kolani, gets on the score sheet. Garamaru, I'm not going to say anything about his kick this time, Rich. Oh, and the assistant referees are happy with that one. They raise the flags.
Silence is a virtue, as they say.
See, I didn't say anything.
He's had enough practice today. It's about time he actually got one over.
He converted. Yeah, come on, give him a break. You know, he converted by 7-iron. I mean, he's a good football player. He's a great kicker. He's not Japan's all-time point scorer for nothing. It's just one of those days where I think collectively and individually things just haven't really worked for the Japan team. And it's early days. There's 12 more games to go till the World Cup. There's obviously a lot to learn on. I'm sure they'll be sitting there watching videos. They've got a long flight to London on Monday because they go to England for 5 days to acclimatise for the World Cup. So I'm sure there'll be plenty to do on that flight in terms of talking over today's performance and what went wrong, what went right, and how they can build on things for when they take on Hong Kong in 2 weeks' time. But at least they're in the lead. Can you imagine going on a flight to London if you had lost? The inquest, the inquiries. What is it? 10-hour journey, 11-hour journey? Oh, you were just on one recently, weren't you?
I was, yeah. I think there would have been a few complaints from some of the other passengers if Japan had been on a flight after a loss.
Exactly.
But, no, they'll fly with a win under their belt, and that's important. Obviously, it's not been a great performance, and as I say, a lot of credit has to go to the Koreans. Very, very brave defensively. They've been good when they've had the ball in hand. Obviously, the fullback was a star in the first half. Lee, the scrum half, has been outstanding as well.
Good run around here. Shin Ki-ho is in the side, and he had a great run off the back of that scrum. And here he is again. He picks it up, goes inside, and there's opportunities for the Japanese to add to that scoreboard. And again, Shin Ki-ho trying to block the run forward by the Japanese, and I think it was Hirose got involved. And Eddie has made some quick changes in the side. Here's the chance for the Goromaru, got in the line. Oh, and that went over the head of the flying machine. Matsui. But the Japanese keeping possession as we come down to 2 minutes. Good rotation again. There was nearly a chance for one of the forwards to go through, and here's a chance for another forward to go through, and he does a somersault, and he's got another try.
Justin Ives.
Justin Ives is the man who's gone in. So Justin Ives, the number 6, gets a try. And Holani was also on the score sheet.
As I say, it hasn't been a great performance, but there have been some good things to come out of it. I mean, Justin Ives missed all of last season for Cannon Eagles. He didn't play at all. So the fact that he's still out there on the field in the 79th minute, scoring a game, I mean, he's heaving a bit now. He's probably, the lungs are working overtime, but that's a good sign for Japan when you get players like that showing that commitment.
And the Goromaru sticks it straight between the posts, and it stretches the Japanese lead out to 56 points to 30. So basically the Korean team haven't put points on the board for quite some time as we come down to the 1 minute clock. The Koreans, I think they will be pretty happy with their performance here. They were in the lead. They shocked a lot of us in the first half, taking a lead of 17. There you see the scoreboard there on your screen. The Koreans 30, Japan 56, and we're into the nearly a couple of last seconds to go as the Japanese again take it out of the fence. Good run forward again, and that is the young man who came on, the number 21 for the Japanese team. This time the ball is not forward, and Tim Baker, the man in charge, decides that's it. Full-time whistle goes, and it's a win for Japan. Although my co-commentator, a man who knows Asia rugby inside out and upside down, as he writes for the Kyoto News every day on international rugby. Rich Freeman, you would say the Japanese would not be happy, even though the scoreboard says Japan 56, Korea 30.
Yeah, I mean, they'll be happy with the win. I don't think they'll be very happy with the performance. Full credit to the Koreans. The big question mark for them, obviously, is can they carry that forward next week? We see, you know, there's still guys on the ground, but they played their hearts out today. They played really well. They, you know, deserve possibly a bonus point even for their efforts, certainly for their defence. Japan have got a lot to work on. They get a bye next week, so they don't have to play. They'll enjoy the delights of Brighton and Warwick as they sort of become acclimatised to England. The weather might not be quite as good as it is here today in Incheon, but a lot of good things for the Koreans. And I say there are some good signs for the Japan team. The fitness of Justin Ives, for example. Matsui took his one chance very well. Fujita worked well coming off his wing a few times, but obviously the errors weren't that great.
Yeah, the Koreans can go away from this, the first game of this Asia Rugby Championship, with a lot of credit. They performed pretty well. They ran out of steam in the last 8 or 9 minutes of the first half. They've done the same here in the second half. But overall, I think their coach, Chung Hyun-suk, would be pretty happy.
I think so. And looking at the crowd, there's a standing ovation here in the main stand from the locals. I mean, they know that their players did well today. They performed very well.
Well, the teams congratulating each other as they go down, and we can now go down onto the ground where Sean Moore is standing beside the successful coach Eddie.
New format, same result, but they made you work for it a little bit. Why don't you talk us through that game?
Oh, we're a bit rusty. You know, Korea, to their great credit, and a lot of critics should go to Korea. They played well, very physical, tackled well, you know, and we were just sloppy for most parts of the game.
So what do you think about the new format, and how can it help you guys get ready for Rugby World Cup?
Yeah, I think playing the better teams twice definitely is going to help us, and it's definitely going to help Korea and Hong Kong too in where they want to go. So I think the new format's excellent.
Thanks a lot, Eddie. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Back to you, Colin.
There's Sean Moore talking there to the Japanese coach Eddie Jones, preparing to go to London tomorrow for recce. And as Sean mentioned there, the Japanese team getting ready for the World Cup. I don't know what overall, Rich Freeman, what you would think about the Japanese performance. Is it something that Scotland, the United States, and all of these other World Cup opponents will be taking notice of?
I don't think they'll be taking too much notice of it. I think they'll probably know, as Eddie said, it was a very sloppy performance. They know Japan can play a lot better. There's still 11 more games to get it right. Here are the highlights, obviously. That man, pegging back 3 penalties, but in the end, it was just that Japan power. Fujita did well coming off his wing here.
Yes, he's a man who I think Eddie Jones at some stage gives a sort of a roving job to. At the end, it was the fitness, it was the strength. Hopgood goes over here, totally unopposed, pops over the line for his second try of the day. And there were a couple of others towards the end, Halani going over, Ives going over, where again, it was just the Japan power and fitness came to the fore. But the one thing that others will take notice of is that actually the Japanese team, when they're in form, they can score from all positions. So no one would turn around and say it's all about the backs. Let's take a look at the highlights there, the tackles.
Well, look at that, twice as many tackles the Korean made. I mean, that shows Japan had a lot of possession, but Korea 104 tackles, great effort, very few missed tackles as well. The scrums, 10-8, evened out towards the end, but that was a lot of it was down to Japan handling errors, again forced by the Korean defense. Turnovers ended up equal. Both sides, very few kicks today, which was obviously good for the fans. They saw some running rugby. Japan, as I say, will probably look to play a different style next time when they play Hong Kong.
Just to go back to what you just said there about the scrums, Rich, the scrums situation, Eddie wouldn't be happy with that.
I don't think so. I mean, as you say, when you play against South Africa or Scotland, you cannot make a mistake if you want to win. And the fact that they gave away 10 scrums means that they made basically 10 handling errors or 10 forward passes. And that is something that they're going to have to work on. The other thing today was, I mean, last year Japan scrum, they were pushing Italy back, they were pushing the US back. They didn't really have that much domination in terms of pushing the Koreans back.
Well, there's the standings on the Asia Rugby Championship, Japan and Korea, the first game off, and it's Japan with 6 points. The Koreans just didn't make it to get a point. So that's the first game out of the way, the first 2 teams involved. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next game coming up when we all head to Hong Kong. There you have it on your screen. It's going to be Hong Kong against Korea next Saturday at the Hong Kong Football Club. The kick-off, as you see, 0800 GMT, 1600 local. A lot of people will look forward to that, considering the great performance that the Koreans put up here in the first half. So a good performance from them, something we'll look forward to next week. And of course, if you want to keep up to date with everything that's happening in this new Asia Rugby Championship on Facebook, you can get us on that address and the address on Twitter as well, so you can always keep in touch with the Asia Rugby Championship for 2015. There's the Twitter address for you. And finally, of course, if you want to get us on the YouTube, you can tune in and see all the action again on YouTube. But we've had a very interesting opening game here in the Asia Rugby Championship. My thanks to my co-commentator, Rich Freeman, and we, of course, will be back soon to join you. But it's time now for us to leave, Incheon. So from all of us here, goodbye.
Goodbye.